Good morning, you guys. It is an absolutely beautiful winter morning in Los Angeles, and we thought this would be the perfect opportunity to answer one of the most common questions you guys have been asking us recently.
And that question is, what cameras do we use and how do we use them to get great action adventure shots?
So we're going to break down the 3 cameras we take with us on all of our adventures, giving you the tips and tricks we use to get the most out of these cameras. What's really important to know about these 3 cameras is that all of them are super lightweight and very efficient. So we can't be carrying around huge heavy cameras on these really long, high altitude adventures. We also don't have time to set up each and every shot with the perfect focus settings and exposure settings. So these 3 give us the highest quality we can get for what we need them to do out on the trails.
So let's start with the camera we're talking into right now, which is the GoPro 8. Okay, so the GoPro 8 is our vlogging camera. So when you see us talking into the camera, especially walking and talking, we're always using the GoPro. It is fantastic in terms of image stabilization, so we use it for almost all of our moving action shots.
Yeah, so a lot of you guys have asked us if we actually use a gimbal, and the truth is, no, we don't. We just use the GoPro, and Adam has really learned how to hold the GoPro and run at the same time. He's basically become our own little human gimbal.
We're gonna show you a little video of how I do that. All right, so there are 2 keys to getting these human gimbal shots. The first key is running as smoothly as possible, and the second key is keeping your arm from jerking. And that means you have to hold your arm completely still while you're running smoothly. You can't be pumping your arm while you run. And I'm just gonna show you an example of it right here.
So we shoot about 95% of our GoPro footage in 4K 60 wide. Occasionally we'll do the super view, but super view on our camera will only go to 30 frames per second, and it takes a long time to set up. But we do like the 60 frames per second, 1, because we like the way the running shots look, and 2, because it allows you to choose any single shot and put it into slow-mo, which 30 frames per second, you do not have that same option.
So one of the biggest problems we have with all of these cameras is that they tend to flatten out every landscape. And we do so much really vertiginous vertical stuff, and we would like you guys to be able to see how vertiginous it actually is. iPhones are especially flattening, so we tend to shoot the vertiginous stuff with the GoPro. And the best way to capture is if someone's coming up something very vertical, like this right here is very vertical actually, is you hold it out and shoot kind of straight down on it. It gives you the clearest representation of the verticality. If you shoot it like this, it's just going to be completely flattened, and even the steepest things will look like nothing. One little tip for you guys about sound with a GoPro. It does tend to pick up wind. So we built our own little kind of like fuzzy microphone cover. And it's honestly been a game changer.
Yeah.
It allows us to go ahead and vlog in kind of windy areas without too much wind obstruction.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible!
Wow, it is gorgeous up here, also very windy.
Adam has gone full on Pop-Tart on this snack spot. It really makes a difference. You can just buy a fuzzy little piece of fur on Amazon and get double-sided stick tape and just stick it on there.
It's really been helpful.
So as great as the GoPro is for an action camera, it definitely has some limitations. The 2 biggest ones that we found are that it is really bad in low light conditions, and it's really just not that great for those sweeping, spectacular landscape shots. You guys, we have gone on these epic morning sunrise runs with our GoPro thinking, oh, we're gonna get these great follow shots, and we get back and the footage is just super grainy. You can't see any of the detail of the sunrise. So for all of those situations, we always whip out our iPhone 12 Pro, and that's exactly what Adam is shooting me on right now.
So one of the great things about the iPhone is that it has different zoom options. Elise is actually shooting me in 0.5 right now, which is a kind of a reverse zoom in order to capture that beautiful landscape behind us. But it also goes all the way up to 7x zoom. Now we don't go that far because the image quality deteriorates. We usually keep it between 0.5 and 2.5. In low light conditions though, we always use 1, which is the base no zoom at all, because that is much clearer in low light conditions.
One thing you never want to do, you guys, with an iPhone is try to use it as a follow action cam. So you guys could probably tell that the iPhone just does not have the image stabilization that the GoPro does. So if you can, do not run with it. We tend to just hold it and track like this and try to be as stable as possible. And then the last thing to know about how we use the iPhone is that we shoot everything in 4K 60 and then edit the rest in post.
So the last camera we use is the GO2 from Insta360. This is a great little action camera, especially if you're running or biking, you want something wearable that you can just whip off quickly and use for a moving tracking shot.
What we love the most about the GO2 is how utterly tiny it is. Look at it, it's so cute. It's super lightweight, very compact. I mean, you guys can see in comparison to the GoPro, which having something this small in terms of talking about trying to get that gimbal-like feel as you're running, for me, it's way easier to use something like this because I can just hold it really close to my body and run behind Adam. If I'm using the GoPro, I cannot get that same human gimbal-like quality that Adam has. It's just too bulky for me to carry.
Yeah, the GO2 is a really excellent device. The one downside of it is that while it has great image stabilization, it does not shoot in 4K. So that can make it harder to do, let's say, a slow-mo or something like that.
Right.
And also the image resolution won't be quite as good in low light environments.
But for a lot of people, you don't necessarily need 4K for everything, especially because 4K takes up tons of space on your computer. So for just everyday action cameras, 1080 or 2K even is totally fine.
Also, we haven't really talked a lot about price, but the GO2 by far the most affordable.
Yeah.
So if you guys are just thinking about getting started and you just kind of want to try something, probably a pretty good way to start.
That's totally true. So once you have all your footage from your adventure, one step we feel you cannot miss is editing in a software editing program. So we did invest in Final Cut Pro. We think it's totally worthwhile for two things. First, it really helps to color correct a lot of your footage. So sometimes GoPro and iPhone will wig out and make things like way too blue, way too red, over or underexposed. You can fix all of that in an editing software program. The second thing you can fix is the audio. So for example, sometimes Adam will be super far away from me and make a joke and nobody can hear it, and I want you guys to hear it.
I will step on a baby before I'll give up vertical.
So in Final Cut Pro, you can adjust all of the audio levels. You can even kind of reduce the noise of the wind sometimes. So that's really why we find that program really helpful.
Okay guys, so that pretty much encapsulates the three cameras that we use: the iPhone 12, the GoPro 8, and the GO2.
One last little bonus tip for you guys is that we always carry a lens pen with us out on the trails. So our total nemesis out there is freaking sunspots. They're basically impossible to avoid, but what we have learned is that if the camera has any little bit of grime on it, your sunspots are going to just be uber enhanced. So we wipe off our cameras pretty regularly on the trail with this little guy, and it at least helps a little bit.
Hope these tips are all helpful for you guys. And as always, just ask us questions in the comments if you have them.
See you next time out on the trails.
See you next time.
Climbing higher, running.